Hello everybody and welcome to Case Management 1 Week 1, and this week we are going to talk about the different elements of the community, understanding clients and a whole range of different client groups. So we've got Amanda with us and Carly, and all of us actually are around the Victoria region, but we're just having discussion about different communities in Australia, and they have different makeups. So quite a heavy focus on our courses are Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander communities, CALD communities, people with different lifestyle choices, LGBT. There's 11. I don't know them all. I'm sorry, I can't remember all of the 11 acronyms for different lifestyle choices, things like that. And we'll be looking at these today. Can anyone think of anyone else? Who have I missed? Have I missed one set of the community that we need to think about? No. We've missed one. I missed one of them deliberately.
A community group, like a cultural group?
Something like that. Something like that. People that we need to be aware of, and people we might need to. People with disabilities.
Okay.
That's the group. Also, what type of disabilities can we name?
Mental health.
Mental health. Yeah. Any more?
Blindness, deafness.
Oh no, we're going to go. What sort of blindness and deafness? What sort of how would you group those?
Physical and mental.
Physical disabilities. Mental. So mental health problems. We shouldn't really call them disabilities, should we?
Sorry, what was that?
We shouldn't really call these things disabilities there, because this is one of the discussions that we have to have today. Is about language, and this is one of the most important parts of our job, keeping up with jargon. And part of our course, part of the case management course, will be ensuring that we're using the right language when we're talking about people and to people and describing people. I suppose more recently, actually, I think, I'm not sure if it's this one because the youth work course has got a very similar makeup, but I can find, I'll find you a link and I'll put it in the chat facility. Do you guys know how to use Zoom? Is this your first time using Zoom?
I've used it one other time.
Oh, have you? Okay, good. Well, we'll get used to using this because you're going to be doing a Zoom online course, a Zoom online assessment, and it might be a good idea to introduce some. You need to use Zoom throughout the course anyway. So there's facilities in Zoom. So let me show. Well, one thing I'll do is I'll share a screen with you and share a link if I can find it. Let's find it on Google. Now we're gonna. I was very pleased when I found this because this is a. I know ACAP were teaching this a little bit. This is 8 minutes. We're not going to play.
Hi, I'm Jack.
We're not going to play the whole 8 minutes, but we are going to play this. Oh, can't do that. Let me show you this. I've lost Zoom. I've lost where you are. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. If you scroll your mouse over the bottom of the screen, you'll see a green button to share screen. When I press that, I can share with you what's on the background in my screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so one of our learning topics this week is talking about people from who have different lifestyle choices and different choices around sexuality. This is actually a person who has written this story for ACAP. And it turns out that Jack is a very good friend of mine. So when I found out I was teaching the course and then I was teaching this, I was very happy. Let's spend a few minutes listening to Jack. Jack's going to answer some questions about his lifestyle choices.
and 48 years old. Just in the last 18 months, started my transition from female to male transgender person. And so I identify as male. Sometimes I forget that I went to a girls' high school. So when you're talking about history, it's like, oh yeah, blah, blah. And sometimes I'm halfway, 3/4 of the way through a story, and then I realize it's going to be a really rubbish story at the end because I can't say I went to a girls' high school. So yeah, there's stuff that happens all the time. Throughout most of my life, I always identified as more masculine, much more masculine. And once I hit puberty, that kind of became not really traumatic, but it became more difficult for me to like myself. And it created, for me, it created anxieties about being out in public, instances of violence as well, homophobic violence, because I identified as a lesbian.
Right, I'm leaving that there. What I will do is share with you the link for that, because we'll achieve two things with this. I'll stop this share. I'd like you to watch this on your own at the end because it's quite valuable. There's a chat facility here, and if I type to you this message, there's the link to view that video. Did everyone get that?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can type back in your chat facility at the bottom of the right hand side. You can type a message to me. Do you want to type received? Press received and enter. There's no real send button, it's just enter. There you go. Carly's frozen. I think she might have been locked out, Amanda. We have problems with the internet. We get this. So we'll just keep working, because the thing is, Carly might be receiving or might not be receiving, but we'll see. She'll be back in. This happens with Zoom occasionally. Usually Zoom's pretty reliable. There we are, back again.
I'm back.
There you go. So good. So now you've seen how we share the screen, and you've seen how we use the chat facility. We've had a look at Jack. I recommend you go and have a chat with Jack, or go and have a look at Jack's video afterwards. Jack's a lovely, lovely guy. Now we have to call Jack a man, and I've known Jack for 20-something years, and I've known him as a lesbian woman, and so I find it a little confusing sometimes because I refer to him as her, and it's very difficult that he's my mate, so he doesn't care if I get it wrong. He's not that precious about the pronouns, but there are people who use terms now, them and they, rather. They don't want to be known as him or her. They want to be recognized as them or they. And I was reading something today, and I don't know it's very appropriate to share it because it's very sexual in nature, so I'm not going to share it with you, but it was about somebody who's identifying as a sex worker, and they were very happy to be a sex worker, and they were saying they were gender fluid, and they were using this terminology. They were saying they want to be recognized as them and they. And we have to embrace these communities as workers. If we case manage people, especially people with complex needs, and you kind of go, well, why are we talking about sex workers? Because I've worked with a number of sex workers in different industries. I've worked at St Kilda Youth Centre, where people might be, especially young people, somewhat attracted to that kind of work on the fringes of it when they're young, and they become very jaded very quickly, but they get sucked into these lifestyles where they're not happy. But this woman seemed to be celebrating this idea that she was a sex worker. So you get this. You get these people who make lifestyle choices that we don't agree with, and then yet we're confronted by, and we have to work with people around this problem. And this becomes, from my experience, one of the most confronting problems that we have as caseworkers, which is, where do your values end and your respecting of the values of the people you're case managing? So this is an interesting thing. So I want to put that question on the table. Can anyone answer that? As caseworkers, where do we, so it could be any kind of this group, you Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander who is maybe, let's say, quite mobile, and they're taking their family with them, and they're not necessarily taking their children to school as regularly as they should be. They're moving around communities. Maybe that's we see that as neglectful of their children. Is that acceptable? Or we might see people making lifestyle choices from cultural backgrounds. What about somebody from a Middle Eastern background or Indian or Pakistani background maybe? They send their children overseas to marry under the legal Australian age, and then they return to Australia as a person who's been married under the legal age in Australia. These are lifestyle choices.
Wouldn't that come down?
What?
Wouldn't that come down to, like, I guess Australia has its laws, so they can't get married here, obviously. But if they come back here, how would that work? Would that be illegal in Australia, even though it's their culture? It's not Australia's law, so it's kind of a crossover.
Well, there's lots of that, isn't there? You kind of, in a way, we have this already. We call, I mean, now, just this week, Q&A had this excellent thing there was a corroboree went on in, a meeting went on in Uluru. We don't call it Ezra, Uluru. And there was a big meeting of Aboriginals, and they came to an agreement. All the different groups of Aboriginals wanted to come together and say, we are a community and we want this. We want these certain rights, inalienable rights as Aboriginal people in Australia. And they're now working together to pressure the government. Now, do we accept Aboriginal law above the law of Australia? Because they're the first people.
Fine line.
It's a difficult thing.
Fine line. If you do it for them, then you have to do it for all cultures.
You know, maybe not.
It's a debatable topic.
Well, America does this. America lets Indian law prevail on certain reservations where they have American native Indians and they have their own police. And the police are just very lax in the way they police certain cultural issues. You know, for example, Aboriginal people, they might spear somebody in the leg for doing wrong in their community. And that is considered a punishment which is given and accepted. Whereas where we see a massive number of Aboriginal people incarcerated in Australia, they see that as being a really inappropriate response to young people and crime in the Aboriginal community. So the communities themselves are saying that's inappropriate. So where do we go with that? They're saying this is our community, these are our young people, you're taking them away and locking them up. We don't want you to do that. I know they've committed a crime, we want to see a different response. So these are the sorts of issues that and as caseworkers, we're constantly being asked to confront these problems. We have to know the right language, we have to know the right customs, we have to become malleable to cultures, we have to be very amenable to different cultures and respectful. So how do we do that? And so in a way, maybe there's no answer. Maybe the answer is we just have to sit and listen and learn, and we don't necessarily need to answer the questions because they're not our questions. But we have to be aware that these can be a problem, and we have other duties and responsibilities which we'll get into in this course. So I'm going to kind of leave that bit of it there, and I'm going to start sharing. Are we going to share now? Yeah, we will. All right, let's have a look at the course. I'd like to just run through the course with you before we close. We're going to close at 4:30. This is I've got to run into another meeting with another course that people might pop up from that course. If I can find it, where are we? Oh, here we are. Understanding our clients, case management. So we can see this. We have here. We've got. Do you guys know how to navigate through the page? By the way, can I give you a hand with anything?
I'm good.
You okay, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm good as well.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to look at understanding clients. We're going to talk about introduction to case management next week. And I'm going to run very briefly through these things. But one big change that we've got here is this book. See, here says week 1, understanding our clients. This is the big change. And I've just had an email today from one of our students who's saying, where are the PowerPoints? The PowerPoints are now in the book. So if we open the book, we can see your book will probably look a lot like this. We'll see an introduction video. That's me. So that'll come up hopefully. Case management 1, term 2, week 1, and we've got a unit description down here. We'll be talking about what this topic is for the week, what issues we'll be looking at, what will you learn out of this. What will you need to do to participate in the course? Complete some work, do some reading, participate online, complete some activities. So there'll be some feedback activities where you'll be able to link into a discussion forum. There'll be an assessment discussion here as well to explain to you why learning this topic is helpful for your assessment. And as we move forward, we hit the keys at the bottom of we go to the next page. So this is an outline of the course. Here's an online glossary, and as I was mentioning, learning language. So any language that you find that you learn, you can join this glossary and add it, and this will help you remember the terminology, and it will help other people who also don't know the terminology. So the glossary actually sits in the navigation somewhere around here. Where is it? Somewhere. I think the glossary is not on here, but if we were to look over here, the glossary is in here somewhere. It's gone. It's gone. It's meant to be here, but it's not here. But that link will take you to the glossary. Maybe the glossary is somewhere up here. We'll have to make sure the glossary is a bit more obvious, I think. That's a bit weird. Anyway, so moving on. So we've got an activity glossary, which is good for learning language, which is the terminology of the course, which is very important. Let's move this out of the way. We've got some discussions, and it's quite a short week. It's a very easy little week to get to navigate around the course. There's a few ideas, some links to some readings, discussions of some of the key issues for these groups, disabilities and disability rights. And then we're going to end up with some videos where talking about different lifestyle choices around people's sexual identities, and finally some videos, Aboriginal and disability issues and how people from these communities want to be seen. And these have got activities, so you can go and watch the videos, and they're not very long. These videos 30 minutes here and 28 minutes here. Have a watch of the videos and then comment on the videos, answer these questions about how you perceive these communities after watching the people in the videos. And that is pretty much all you have to do. Complete the readings, and the readings are, we've got my screen goes up and down like a jackbox here. Here's some readings here: Stolen Generation, Margot's story. Have a look at Jack's story as well. There it is. There's Jack's story. The Resilience of Change. Jack's story is down there. And then we'll be back next week at the same time, same back channel. We'll be back on Sunday as well, for you guys to, if you want to come back on Sunday, I'll be introducing the course to other people who come on Sunday. And if you guys come back and nobody else comes along, we'll be moving things along a little bit, because for the people viewing the video as well, we'll be talking about the case studies on this course. And this is going to become very important. Unlike other courses where we're going to focus on some of the academia online here, when we're in the Zoom classes, we're going to be going through case studies. And as an experienced case manager, I'm going to be pulling apart the case studies and showing you how to identify support needs and then start focusing on linking those support needs into working on these cases. And these are going to be really important for the assessment. So we're going to go through the assessments as well. And I was marking them last year. Sorry, was it last semester? Last year, at the end of the semester 3 in 2016. And they were pretty bad. People, and what we're going to do this, we're going to aim to get everybody identifying the same need and linking the needs to the same resources, so the individuals in the case plan are linked in. So we're going to try and focus on improving the rigor of everybody in terms of case management. Hello, Ali. We'll be with you in a minute. Ali's joined us for, have you joined us for case management too? We'll be back, Ali. I'm just going to finish up with case management 1.
Oh, okay. Yep. No worries.
Okay. So,
Okay.
any questions from anybody before we go?
No, I'm okay, thanks.
Great. Well, I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'm going to. We'll be back on Sunday and again on next Wednesday for a chat. If you have any problems with anything, send an email in. It's going to be. We're going to walk everybody through this course. I promise you, you will end up with magic practice skills that you will be able to take with you into the workplace. And they'll be effective and they'll be relevant, they'll be meaningful. Be able to look at clients and consider client need and be able to focus on what we're doing in a practical sense, as well as understanding a framework with which you'll approach this, because it's not very hard, but it's important to get rigor. It's important to have a strong framework to act upon. And throughout this course, we're going to be doing that. It's not going to be this, because week 1's a little bit, you know, it's nice and easy, it's cushy. Watch a couple of videos, add your thoughts, and that's important. But as we go through, the participation on Zoom, if nobody comes, I'm not going to make any videos. If I don't make any videos, we're not going to examine the cases. If we don't examine the cases, you're just doing the reading for the course, and you won't learn a great deal out of that. So I do encourage you to come along, because you can ask questions, and I will be confronting you guys with questions like we have asked already. And you'll be a lot more involved, by the way. I'm not the only person to be giving out the information here. I know you guys come from working in the sector, so we'll be drawing upon your fantastic experience. Right? Thank you very much. I've got to run. I've got to run to another meeting. Take care. See you next week. Thanks for coming, guys.
No worries.
Yeah, look, great. I'm
Amanda.
going to end